Hey, Sean here from SpeedCubeReview.com. A lot of people tend to ask if UV coating or PVC coating is worth it and what's the difference compared to glossy plastic and polished plastic and things like that. So I'm going to go through all of that right now because I've done all that. So, for example, let's just talk about this. Cubes for a long time were just glossy plastic. This is a glossy plastic cube. This is my GAN 356X Infinity Edition, where I had some purple magnets, the primary plastic before GAN just started doing that, half bright shades, which they look a little bit bright in here. Wow, that's atrocious. That's not great camera work. There we go. That's a little bit better there. And let's see if I can fix this camera right now. Nope, it's just going to be kind of rough for that one. Okay, so yeah, glossy plastic, you can see what I mean by glossy. And I love glossy plastic. It's grippy, it's really nice, I like the way it looks. But most of all, it's grippy. Now, I've had people say that glossy plastic feels more slick to them, and I think it has to do with how much you sweat. So people who tend to sweat a bit more, it's worse than the matte plastic. I don't know. I feel like it's always been better. So that's glossy plastic. And then somewhere along the lines, they started switching to matte plastic. They called it frosted plastic. However, it didn't feel like frosted glass. It was just matte. And what then I started to do was I polished the puzzle. So this is my GAN 251. And I know I polished a 3x... This is my GAN 251. Now I know I polished a 3x3, but that's somewhere else, or I gave it away or something like that. And so this was a matte plastic, and I polished it. They will kind of shine up with just use, but I used aluminum polish for this. And you can see the reflection is not as strong, but it still adds that grip. I'm going to go through how they all feel and perform in just a moment. There are companies like Speedcube Shop that do PVC coating, and I have two different puzzles with PVC coating. This one's a recent one. This is a GAN 11 with the PVC coating, and GAN 11 is normally a matte plastic, so the fact that you see this kind of shine in it is not what you'd see with the normal matte plastic. They also do it with a clear cover, the sticker overlays, and you can see a little bit, there's an edge there. Let's see if I can get a good edge that you can see that line. Huh, kind of hard to get that to show up. That's a little better. You see where that shine is? There are clear overlays, so they're like stickers. And there's a definite bump here. This one, there's no bump. This one, there's a bump. And it's a nice grip, but it also gets a little dirty, so you have to clean that a lot. And the look of it is huge for me, even though it might perform fine, but look a little bit funky. The look makes a big difference for me. So then GAN came out with the UV coated puzzle. Let me get a good side that the camera tends to like most. And this is that. This is their UV coated. As far as feeling, they all feel grippy. They're all nice and grippy, and I don't feel much of a difference. Like, honestly, the polished plastic compared to this one feels a little bit smoother, but not by much. So I can't really tell too much of a difference from feeling it. With that said, the UV one feels the most like there's most product on it. It feels more bubbly, as if there's a coating over it. The PVC, I can't feel any change in the shape of it. What's interesting though, I checked the size of it, and at least my GAN X was like 56.04 millimeters, and this one was 55.98. So the UV coated was smaller. Now that's a 12 against the GAN X, so maybe they did adjust the size slightly to make that work. But as far as feeling, all the glossy plastics feel pretty much the same. The UV coated feels a little more bubbly just because of that extra coating on it. The one that feels the most different is the one with the overlays. And I'll use this. This is actually the 50mm YJ puzzle. And for one-handed, it's nice because there's a little extra grip to it. I added magnets to that. As far as look, they look fairly similar. The 12 is definitely the shiniest. I tend to see the most glare on that one. The PVC coating adds a shine, but not a ton. I guess a good thing would be to check that. It doesn't feel as shiny. You can see where it almost fades in, while something like this, there's more of a line, and you can almost see ripples. I see a ripple on the PVC coating that has the overlays. Don't really see ripples on the glossy plastic, and you see more of that fade. Let's go to blue, that seems to be best, on the one that I've polished. Durability is an interesting one. I don't really know how to test that so much unless I like took a key and tried to scratch every single one. Of the cubes I've used the most, it's this GAN X, and I don't always put this in a protective bag. And if you look really, really, really closely, there's little fine hairline marks, but it's unnoticeable if you're not trying to see it. So I've never felt issues with durability on my puzzles. I feel like they're all fairly durable and not really making much scratches. Now, even though I don't always put it in a bag, I'm fairly safe in my puzzles. I'm not chucking them against walls. I always have a mat if I'm solving. I don't slam it on a table if I don't have a mat. So I'm fairly safe with it. Does it feel like the UV and PVC coating are a little more protective? It feels like that, but we're talking maybe 10 years down the line with a bunch of rough use. If you're trying to figure out what you want, what to get, if you have the money and you want a GAN 12, yeah, UV coating, get it. It has a really nice feeling to it. It's a lot of extra money, but it gives you a premium feeling puzzle. If you want extra grip on your puzzle and you don't mind scrubbing clean, they give you a brush and some cleaner if you get the PVC coated puzzles. Yeah, get the PVC with the overlays. If there's a puzzle you really like that is in matte plastic, Speedcube Shop, you can go there and get the PVC coating. And in my opinion, for the durability of it, it's worth it. If you want to just polish it, well, the amount of it would cost for aluminum polish and maybe the time, you can scrub it, but you can see there is still a difference in the way this one shines compared to that. In the end, I really wish more companies would just keep the glossy plastic. I think that's easier. I think that's fine. Or at least have a glossy version and a matte version. That, I don't know how hard it is to produce each of those with plastics. Maybe it's easier to make the matte ones, and so they're just doing that because it's actually easier and cheaper, but they're telling us it's premium. I'm making this up, so, I'm just asking the questions. You can't fault me for asking questions. I might be completely wrong with this, so don't think that that's the truth. So there is a benefit to each one. Besides the one that has the coating, if I was told to figure out which puzzle was which between these three, I'd have no idea. I think maybe I could tell the 12 just because of that bubbliness with it, but it's very, very, very slight. So I think if I was blindfolded and had to tell the difference between these three, I might not be able to tell either one. If you do want some added grip, I also do recommend using a product called Gorilla Snot. I've used it for a while now, and it's fantastic. It's originally made for guitar picks and drumsticks, so you can hold on to them more easily, and it doesn't leave any weird residue. So I'll put a link to that for the Amazon link. We can get some Gorilla Snot. Totally worth it in my opinion. Please feel free to put any questions you may have in the comment section below. Hit like, subscribe for more content like this in the future. And as always, stop by speedcubeview.com for more news and reviews.